And here we go.
I'm trying out this new hairdo, and it really is not working.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
I was trying something new.
You have yourself.
I didn't feel like washing my hair.
You have yourself a little Jerry Prochaska up on the top of your head.
In the specific spot of this little headband thing. So we won't be doing that again.
We just need some earbuds or something. Thing you can wear, whatever hair you like.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we are back with another Two Straws, and we will be talking about UFC Vegas 100. I actually got to go there in person. It was pretty fun.
You watched the fights in person?
Yeah.
Like all the fights, they didn't kick you out?
No, they allowed me to watch all the fights in person. I mean, I did have Kat Zagano with me, so she was able to big time and go, "Hey, Dana, can I get tickets for me and my friend, who just happens to be Angela Hill? No big deal, you know." Me and my friend, please don't gatekeep the tickets. Make her sit on the couch, and then I'm sitting by myself for the whole time.
Did you guys get a couch?
No, it's usually like a couch, I thought. Like when my family went to the Apex, they sat them on a couch.
Wow.
For my fight, and then they're like, "Get out so we can get these other people on the couch."
Oh, yeah. That's kind of nice.
You didn't have a couch, or you always go as a guest. You never have to get shipped out afterwards.
No, I've only ever sat in the stands. Yeah. When I've been there, they reserve the couches for the celebrities. I think Travis Barker and what's her name, Kourtney Kardashian were there one time, and some other celebrities.
There were probably a lot of celebrities I didn't recognize. There was a lot of plastic surgery and boobs and fish lips, and I was like, I bet I don't know. I bet I should know who they were. Apparently, there were a couple girls that were porn stars, and I was like, oh, I don't know who they are, but maybe Adam does.
Different demographic.
Jon Jones was there. He was in the stands. Got a selfie with him and Kat.
I saw a bunch of Fight Nerd glasses being worn.
Everyone was wearing Fight Nerd glasses. Cowboy Isle. He was there. He was really sweet. He's like, "Oh, can I take a picture with you guys? You guys are legends." And I was like, "Stop it. You're the legend. I wasn't happy when you beat up my friend King in there, but now I'll forgive you."
Now we can follow each other and move on.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was a fun time. Everyone was kind of in a good mood. I feel like it was a fluffer card for UFC Madison Square Garden because they just put a ton of finishers on the card. Sometimes they do this and it doesn't work out at all, but this time they just put knockout artists versus knockout artists, submission artists versus submission artists, and everyone went for the kill. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, they handed out a lot of bonuses from yesterday. That was really impressive because I was sitting there watching. I'm wondering how many they're actually going to give because pretty much everybody on that card deserved it.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to look to see how many finishes we had on the card, but from top to bottom, it was just nonstop action. The only ones that kind of ruined it were the strawweight fights, but we'll get to those later. It's not our fault. We're little. They did have finishers in those fights as well. You know, they had Denise Gomes who had knocked out a bunch of people. She knocked out Yasmin and another girl, and then they had Gillian Robertson who submits a lot of people. So they were still trying to stack it even on the smaller end, but just didn't work out this time.
It's okay. You put together a good card. It was a nice warm up for the big fights next Saturday at Madison Square Garden. So I think they did a great job.
Yes, they did. Because 6, 7, 8, we had 8 finishes out of that card, which is insane.
4 got bonuses.
4? Only 4?
Only 4. I thought it was more. So Prates, Abdul Malik, Radke, and Blackshear.
Okay.
They were the ones with the performance of the night bonuses. Well deserved.
I think they did a good job.
They did.
With picking, at least. If they're going to pick some, they picked the right ones. Although I thought Tresean Gore's guillotine was pretty friggin' nasty.
It was, but if you put it up to some spectacular knockouts, I understand how it could probably get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. So, speaking of spectacular knockouts, we should probably talk about how my big little bro didn't do so well against Carlos Prates.
Prates was a -800 betting favorite. Yeah.
For good reason.
And I mean, to Magny's credit, he's always game. He's always, always going to take that chance and step up. Short notice, full camp, doesn't matter. He'll step up and fight, everybody who's who. He had a good game plan at first. It's just Prates started, pulling ahead and, figuring Magny out. And Magny was just really sticky at first and, given a little bit of trouble stifling the striking. But Prates started getting that distance and, finally got the knockout.
Yeah, it was really nasty. He hit him with like a check hook, I believe, before the whole knockout thing happened. And we're watching it live and it sucks because you're looking at what's going on and then you're looking at the clock, looking at what's going on, looking at the clock, and you're like, oh, he might make it out of the round. There's only 15 seconds left. And it looked like a phantom punch, the one that finally dropped him.
It did. That's what everyone in the broadcast team was saying. It looked like it didn't even catch him, but when they played it in slow motion, it looked like it just caught him like on the top of the temple.
Yeah, it was like barely legal spot, like right before that mohawk area that they always tell you not to hit. So when you're doing like the referee meeting, they go, you can hit everything except for the mohawk area behind here. So it's kind of like a Simon Marcus mohawk, like the mohawk that starts back here.
Yeah.
At your top knot. And you can hit everything except for those spots. And it was literally right on the border of the spot that you're not allowed to hit. So it really jolted his head. Like that brain, it shakes around, it shuts off, and it looks weird because it's one of those knockout buttons that I feel like people don't talk about a lot. Like you see it a lot with head kicks when somebody just barely grazes the top of the head, drops them. And it never really looks like anything because you don't see that that snap that you see when someone gets you on the chin. But man, it was so nasty.
It was. And I mean, Prates called out Jack Della Mandela or Jeff Neal. He hopes to fight in Australia. I think that one's in February. That's a good call out. I would love to see Della Mandela. Yeah.
That'd be fun. I feel like Prates is he's trickier, Della Mandela, he comes in with a lot of power, with a lot of just force when he lands, but I think Prates is really sneaky and tricky the way he sets everything up. He uses a lot of feints, a lot of kind of hidden feints, so they're not really really dramatic, like a big like that, but it'll be just like a little hip twitch.
Yeah.
Or a little knee raise, just slightly, just like a few centimeters, just to get you to bite on it, and then he throws whatever is open after you bite on it. It's really cool to watch. And he did read, because I feel like he kind of hit out of the clinch. That's kind of how Magny got caught in his last fight against Morales. It's like Spider-Man. So, so it sucks because I really, like we talked about it last week, I really felt bad about him taking this fight after getting TKO'd. Like to take that fight, such quick turnaround, it was only, when was August, 3 months ago? It was only 3 months ago, really quick turnaround, another knockout artist. It just seemed like a really rough fight to take.
It is. And I think we have to kind of talk about the risk versus reward of taking short notice fights. It doesn't always pay off the way that you hope it is. It's a big risk taking a short notice fight. It's a big it's a big risk to take fight against somebody who's a knockout artist when you've just gotten knocked out.
Well, it wasn't short notice.
No, I know, but I was just saying it's there are short notice fights. Yeah, just in general. There are certain fights that you should, kind of worry about your career in the sense that you have to protect your record, you have to protect your head, you have to protect you are the asset. And I think a lot of people are just wanting to be company men and always say yes. Just always say yes because they think somebody is going, it's going to pay off whether they win or lose, just to be a company person. And it doesn't always pay off.
Yeah, exactly. And then sometimes, it's just you believing in yourself too and not looking at the smarter decision, because it's great to believe in yourself. It's great to have that, get out of here. So distracting. It's great to have that self-belief, but at the same time, you have to be smart about how quickly you're taking these risks. Because I would love to see Neil Magny fight someone like that, but maybe after 6 months of resting your head, of not running, not hitting pads, not doing all the things that's going to get you ready for a fight, because you have to protect your brain. And it's not just jumping into sparring. It's not just jumping into a fight where you have to worry about that CTE buildup. You have to worry about your brain getting rattled around, but it's all those other things that you have to do in order to get ready and to get in shape. So it's kind of, I'm frustrated for him because I like the guy. He's a really sweet person. I love his story, and he's another person who is just a workhorse like me. And it sucks to see someone end up on that side, especially when a lot of times they are the upsetter for a prospect. So I hope Neil gets healed up quickly, but Prates, man, he is going to be a monster. So I didn't realize how extensive his Muay Thai background was.
Over 100 fights.
Over 100 fights. That's a good secret.
Yeah. I mean, why is this the first time I'm hearing about it, but I believe it. It makes sense.
I mean, look at the chest.
Yeah.
His tattoo was telling us, and we didn't want to believe it.
Well, some people are white belts and they get jiu-jitsu tattooed on them, and you're just like, yeah. You do jiu-jitsu.
Or
hope you stick with it.
Or they've never trained and they get a black belt tattooed on them.
Yeah, that's a weird one too.
I've seen it.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
I've seen it in person.
But yeah, you get people who are just really excited, so they just, pick them and stick them.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could watch him fight and assume that he's probably had a Muay Thai fight or two in his career, but now that it's confirmed, it makes a lot of sense.
It does.
It definitely does.
He is so awesome to watch.
He is. So I love just his body of work. I love what he's doing so far, and I really feel like he's on his way to becoming a huge superstar in the UFC.
I think they're banking on it.
Huge. Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. How could it not happen? Well, after or before that happened, we had our co-main event, and that was, who was it? Who was it supposed to be? Cody Garbrandt, right?
It was supposed to be Garbrandt and Giles.
Michael Johns?
Johns.
Yeah, something Johns. He's good too.
Yeah, that was going to be an interesting one. I mean, I was pulling for Cody, but I thought
Johns.
But I thought that Johns was probably going to test his chin.
Yeah, he looks like a little Mighty Mouse with knockout power, or more knockout power because he's bantamweight. So instead, we had Gerald Meerschaert versus Reiner de Ridder, and you told me something funny that I didn't know that happened with him in order to get out of his contract and get in the UFC.
Yeah, so de Ridder was at the pre-fight presser, and he was being, a bit coy and cute about how he ended up getting out of his 1C contract, and he just kind of said straight out. It was just kind of funny because he just said, "Yeah, somebody asked if he, what made him come back out of retirement. He said, well, I was never really retired. I just wanted to get out of my contract. And after his fight, he went on to say, to warn other fighters to like not sign with ONE FC.
Ooh.
Yes, he is on a campaign against ONE FC. He's a former ONE FC champion. He's, been around for quite a while. He has an extensive, submission win in his record. And he took on another person who has the most submissions in the middleweight division. Wait, is it middleweight? Yes, middleweight. In Meerschaert. So this was going to be a really fun fight to watch.
Yeah.
And I think it delivered. I was pulling for Meerschaert. I thought it was going to end up being a decision. I thought that their grappling was going to end up canceling each other out. I thought Meerschaert had the striking advantage, which we saw he did, although he ended up getting clipped. I think it was in the first round. But yeah, it was a pretty exciting fight, and de Ridder went on to call out, Khamzat. He's calling out all the big names.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
Wasting no time. I don't think that's going to go very well for him.
I know. I'm like, maybe you should pump your brakes a little bit. So I was laughing watching this fight, and I feel like he surprised me just as much as he surprised Meerschaert with that elbow that he landed on him, because his striking looked so weird.
He looks so awkward and uncomfortable on the feet.
It looks so weird. His leg kicks made Gillian Robertson's look like Jose Aldo.
Oh, leave him alone. But I understand the reference.
They were, because both were bad. But his were so awkward. And I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, Gerald's going to knock this guy out, which is rare for him. But I'm like, he looks sharp. He's going to knock this guy out. And then out of nowhere, just this monster combination out of the clinch. Gerald was coming back, but then he would come back. Then Gerald would come back. The Riddler would come back. And then eventually he was able to land that head and arm choke. And man, it was just such a crazy high-level grappling match. It will be interesting to see him against other people in the UFC, but I feel like anyone with strong wrestling, anyone who has like heavy striking, like a Chimaev, like that's not going to go well for him.
I think that their grappling is probably going to cancel out his submission game. He's long and lanky, and he's really pressed for the takedown, which has worked out with him. But what I saw when I was watching, some of his footage, because I really didn't know much about him leading up, but he's, fighting somebody who's fighting a person that we know and that we're also under the same management as. So I want to do a little research. And he is just very adamant with the takedown, and he is very durable, and he's gotten knocked out twice pretty badly.
Okay.
In his last few outings in ONE FC by a very dominant striker.
His awkwardness reminds me of like a Dricus du Plessis, but a grappler. You know what I mean? Like, like a grappler, Dricus du Plessis, where it doesn't really look like it should work, but then it does. Like his takedowns are ridiculous looking. Yeah. He's doing all the things that we're not supposed to do, like walking on your knees. You're not allowed to do that.
It just works for him.
I just imagine what Phil Davis's Coach Phil's face watching that. Yes,
I'm sure there were a lot of.
I would have loved to
a lot of hand gestures.
I would have loved to see Daniel Cormier in the booth just watching that takedown happen when he's walking on his knees to the fence, and then he stands up. Like, stand up before you get to the fence.
He would have been all over it. It would have been insufferable to listen to that commentary. He would have been so mad.
So obnoxious. So angry. But it would have been deserved because those takedowns were garbage, but they worked. They worked so well, and it makes you think like, man, maybe I don't know anything about grappling. Maybe
You just got to make it work for your body type. He's very long and lanky. He's 6'4", which is huge for that division.
And he's got that Elon Musk bod.
It's not that bad.
That big old barrel chest. Maybe that's why he can grovel on his knees, because he has that big old rib cage to help push the person over.
Well, he's 6'4", so when he's on his knees, he's not that much. He's like a regular middleweight.
He's giving them a seat to sit on. That thing is huge. But yeah, it was really interesting to watch, and it just goes to show you, like, sometimes you just gotta try really fucking hard, and you'll get where you want to get to in your fight. And so, like, watching that was I don't know, it made me question myself, but also it's like, okay, this guy, he has something different. And the reason I compare him to Dricus is because his striking is the same way, where a lot of it should not work. Like a lot of the way that he throws punches and kicks, it shouldn't work. But because he does it with such conviction, it works. And it throws people off, because how do you mimic that? So that's the one thing he has going for him against these tougher fights. It's like, how do you mimic a person who fights like de Ridder? And I don't think you're going to be able to. You'd have to get Gerald in there. You have to bring Gerald in camp and switch him out for like a worse striker. Switch him out for Dricus. Not Dricus, but an awkward striker. Yeah, so those fights were pretty crazy. And after or before that, I keep saying after, but before those even happened, we had some fights go down in our weight class.
We did. We had some ex-opponents. Yes. I was rooting for Karolina, but I also thought that your previous opponent, Gomes. Yeah, Gomes. I was going to say Gomez. Gomes, I thought that she
hit
might
a gum run in that one.
She looks like obnoxiously strong. She was doing a really good job of pressing Karolina and just kind of controlling her in the fight and landing the power shots, whereas Karolina would have moments of volume, but it just wasn't enough, and she ended up being outpointed.
Yeah. I mean, I was able to push her up against the fence, so I guess you're saying I'm obnoxiously strong.
Well, you are.
Thanks.
And you know it.
Thanks. Thanks for the compliment. Yeah, Karolina didn't have any answers for her. She would get to that over-under position, or she was doing something kind of interesting. I wasn't sure if you'd be able to see it in the tape, but against the fence, from our angle, you could see that Gomes was going up into the butt. She was going up into
I couldn't see that.
She was holding on to that handle.
That cheek?
Yeah, the bottom cheek. And so, you know how we do the pinky and the stinky?
Yeah.
The you turn the hand out when you put your arm across the thigh, and that allows you to really control the distance in that clinch, so they're not able to hit a trip or not able to like shoot down for a takedown or anything like that, or even disengage. Instead of just going pinky up and hand in the thigh, she went cup underneath and hand on the butt cheek from the front.
Okay.
If that makes sense for our podcast listeners who only have audio and don't have video. Guys, we're on Spotify now.
Yay! You're welcome.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your podcasts, we're going to be on it. So,
you're welcome.
Yeah, but still watch YouTube so we can get our views. Just click on the YouTube link. You don't have to listen to the whole thing here.
It's more fun visually.
I think so. But some people, they have to drive, so I would hate for someone to crash looking at our beautiful faces.
I know. Well, the legs aren't out right now, so I feel like there would be far less accidents.
That's true.
Yeah.
We still gotta get the legs propped up on the table at some point.
We do.
But yeah, she was grabbing the bottom of the butt cheek, and it was really giving Karolina a lot of trouble, like disengaging, getting off the fence. And then when she wasn't, she was just pressing really hard. And I kind of felt that when I fought Ricci, and it can be really frustrating when you're not able to wiggle away and get to a good point where you can strike or knee even, or get your offense going. Karolina did have a good little moment though in the very last round. Yeah.
Yeah, she does. one thing about Karolina's style is she's always good with going for the Thai plum, and she's good with her volume. She'll throw them out. She was good going from head to body, just changing levels with her strikes. And so she had that moment, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah. One thing that was getting Gomes in a little bit of trouble, she kept trying for that spinning elbow. She tried for a spinning elbow a few times. I feel like when Karolina jumped on her back, she was thinking about doing the spinning elbow from the kick catch. I don't know. It looked like she just pulled her leg across, but she let the leg get pulled so easy that I feel like she was going for one last spinning elbow and ended up just misjudging it and giving her back. That could have lost her the fight.
It could have
against a better grappler.
It's just you have to have that IQ, that awareness of where you are inside the octagon and where you are in the fight and what's going on and the time and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, she saw it and she took her opportunity. It could have ended up like Grasso and Shevchenko.
Yeah, it's so easy. We've seen it happen a bunch. That's the best example of that happening. But yeah, Gomes looked really good. She was throwing really good combinations when she let her hands go. I like how she threw that kick at the end of a lot of her combinations, just really putting things together nicely. So I feel like she's figuring out how to get really comfortable in there. Like, because Karolina's a good fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's been in with Best in the division, and she's still got a lot of gas in her tank. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty impressive win on Gomes's belt. What did you think about Karolina's signature walkout again, the crying on the way to the octagon?
Listen, she's feeling it. She's in the moment. You leave my girl Karolina alone. It's an emotional moment every time, a person walks out to the octagon and, it's just, she wears her emotions on her sleeve.
When was her last fight?
Ooh.
Because whenever I see that, I think, it must have been a really long time since she last did this walk. But her last fight was in May.
Yeah.
Relax, girl. Relax. Another thing that was kind of interesting, speaking of crying, her and who's the other girl, the other Polish girl who was on the card?
Let me pull it up. I have it right here.
They both posted some very heartfelt messages. Oh, Klaudia Sygula. They both posted really heartfelt like apologies, and they're crying and sad about the loss and just letting everyone know they'll be back. And I don't know.
I feel like you have
weird to me.
strong feelings about it. I mean, you've posted a crying video before.
When I was not allowed to fight in the UFC because of USADA.
Yeah, but that's still, there's emotion. They're emotional. These are big moments in people's lives, and they're just being vulnerable and sharing their feelings.
I thought it was weird. And I don't know. I always feel like it just looks so girly. It's like, why don't you walk out in a pink Hello Kitty fight kit if you're gonna do that? Like,
how could you cry with Hello Kitty?
How could you imagine?
Hello Kitty makes me happy. So does Pajako. He was my guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So that's your thing. I just, for the sake of equality amongst the sexes, like, could you imagine a guy doing that?
No, but I mean, we saw Radke getting emotional after his fight in his post-fight interview.
But that's different.
He was being emotional.
He didn't go, let me fix my hair, pull out the screen or pull out the selfie stick and go, hey guys. It's just, it always seems like there's a little extra effort when it goes to that.
I get what you're saying. It's just, maybe she was feeling it, and influencers are doing these things where they're, putting out their emotions, and athletes are, trying to be more vulnerable. And it's just, you're just got to let them do it.
Well,
it's their thing.
Say what you want to say about TikTok girl, but she never did that shit. So
yeah, I don't know.
cool in my book.
I don't feel the need to apologize after a loss or anything like that. It's more of a private thing for me, but I'm different. I'm a very private person. So I don't necessarily like to, put that out there like that. I think that's more for my inner circle, the people that, I want to hear and experience my emotions with. But some people are just a lot more comfortable with letting it out.
Yeah.
And getting likes.
Getting likes for letting it out. Well, speaking of the other Polish girl, Klaudia Sygula, she stepped up on short notice, Sygula, to fight Hot Mess. Not Hot Mess.
I'm like,
no mess. No mess.
You, that is my name.
So when are we going to make that an official nickname, Hot Mess Jess? Why did you never do it?
Yeah, I've never wanted a nickname.
Hot Mess Jess is the best nickname. That
she does not belong in the octagon.
Yeah, I mean,
she does not.
Doesn't she though?
She does not.
I've seen Hot Mess Jess get down. I've seen Hot Mess Jess scrap. Hot Mess Jess is a scrappy girl. She will ride or die. Use whatever weapons are
by
available.
any means necessary.
Very resourceful.
She would get disqualified.
Yeah. It'd be worth it, though. It'd be worth it. Well, one thing I think someone should have gotten disqualified for are those 12-6 elbows to the butthole. Did you see that?
I did not.
Oh.
I just I saw the highlight of that fight. Of the girl you're referring to the girl fight.
Well, I'm talking about Gillian versus Luana. I skipped.
Oh, okay.
Back up. I skipped back up.
You got to tell me.
Because I'm like, wait a second. We need to talk about this.
As connected as we are, I cannot literally read your mind. I'm sorry. I'll work on it.
I thought you would have literally seen the 12-6 elbows dropping down on poor Luana's butthole.
No, I saw it to her face.
No, here, I got the video.
Oh my gosh.
Just so you know, I'm not making this up. So she threw a few, but we could see it. We had a pretty good view of it. Those were 3 straight to the butthole.
Oh!
And then one more right in.
No wonder she started throwing all those kicks at the end of the fight. She was tired of the bullshit.
I would have tried to kick her in the Kula.
Yeah.
I would have gone straight up. She was
Kula was butt.
Yeah, well, the coochie, the cooter,
the twat,
the muff,
the vagine.
Yes, all those things. I would have gone straight up there if someone did that to me. That was disrespectful. And then Chris Tayoni, he goes, "Watch the spine."
That's fair. I mean, there's a tailbone right next to the butthole.
It's the bottom of the spine, but I do feel like the butthole is not allowed to be messed with in fights.
Maybe by a finger.
No orifices. Yeah, they never said anything about an elbow.
Exactly. I mean, this new.
We need to look at the rule book.
This new rule book thing. We have to, get rid of the gray area that we just discovered. We were not expecting
the brown area.
We weren't expecting this.
Man, poor Luana. Well, yeah, let's talk about that fight since we're here. We're here. Might as well settle in. This fight was pretty frustrating to watch because it seemed like there was a clear line to victory, but it also looked like Luana was a little flustered with certain positions. Mm-hmm. So when Robinson would shoot in, you could see her going through all the different kind of takedown defenses in her head, and she never stuck to one. She did really well in the second round, but when she got taken down, she would start on one defense, and then right when that defense started working, she'd switch. Mm-hmm. And that's when Gillian was able to get to the body lock, get to the back, climb or dump or do something, just advance her position. And I felt like if Luana just like kind of stayed on the head and really was persistent with that one defense, she'd be a little better. Every now and then she tried to reach back for the lat too, like do that judo throw where you reach behind you, you grab the lat, you kick it out. But I felt like she just felt that little bit of resistance and would second guess it. Mm-hmm. And then Gillian was able to advance. So yeah, it was frustrating because you could see there was a clear line to victory, but she was afraid to let the hands go because of the takedown threat.
Yeah, and that was her path to victory. That was Luana is a hard hitter. Mm-hmm. She puts people down, which we've seen before, and we knew Gillian's path to victory was going to be getting in on her hips and taking her down and getting control, which she did very well. She was relentless in her attempts, and that's what ended up winning the fight. It's just, I felt frustrated for Luana as well. I just feel like, you know, it was almost like she's not that inexperienced, but I feel like it was an experience.
I think it was an experience, but it was also maybe the pressure. Her boyfriend just fought and lost. Just got released from the UFC. They just moved. They just relocated to the U.S. So there's a lot of pressure coming off of a 2-fight lose streak too, where you're going in against someone, you just got submitted, and you get a submission artist. It's like Neil Magny, just getting knocked out. You get a knockout artist, you know, submitted by a striker.
Calm down.
What a lame not being able to submit someone a striker submitted. Wow. Wonder why she was so upset she didn't get the finish.
No, it is a real thing. And I wonder, you know, we have Karolina who's now is she on a 2-fight losing streak? Or was that her first one?
Yeah, 2-fight losing. She lost to Yasmin Lucindo.
Yeah, now we have Luana on a 2-fight lose streak, 3-fight losing streak. It's very scary. It's a scary time for any fighters. I mean, Neil Magny, how many losses is that?
2.
Yeah, you never know if you're safe. There's a lot of pressure. I know I felt that in my last fight, and it's a very real thing, and it can be very heavy inside there, and it can, you know, take a fighter out of their game. It can be very distracting, and unfortunately, you know, it can get the better of us.
Yeah, and a lot of times they mentioned this in one of the other fights, but the commentary was talking about analysis paralysis. And it's almost like you watch Pinheiro's first highlights, and she's just swinging hard. She's knocking people down. She's jumping on top of them. She's getting really grimy with them. And then as soon as you start to lose, or you start to like mess up, or people start criticizing the way that you approach things, and you change things about how you fight, a lot of times you lose, or it's always possible to lose the thing that made you win. You know, like, oh, she shouldn't be so aggressive, she gasses. It's like, well, there was no aggression, you know what I mean? And I feel like just one sprint like she did in her highlight reel, one of those would have put Gillian on her butt, because her striking, it didn't look as good as it did against Watterson. Like, you could tell there was, she looked a little uncomfortable on her feet. A lot of the kicks were coming out very light. Everything was thrown like she was touch sparring, you know, like it didn't look like she was trying to hit to hurt. But she did a good job of masking her takedowns. So you could tell that, like, man, if she had just, like, gone forward, if she was able to commit to the punches, it would have made it a little scarier for her to change levels. If she committed to the kicks, committed to the leg kicks, it would have made it a little scarier to, like, dive in and go for it. And then it could have led to her getting ahead a little bit on that. But I did think she did well in the second round. And that third round, I thought it was funny. It was a 10-8 round, because she had like that little moment where she almost got the guillotine. And then, like, you looked at her face, there was a lot of ground and pound thrown, but there was no marking on her face.
No, she had Robertson had Pinheiro in a kind of a crucifix position. She had good control the whole round, but there was not a lot of power on those things.
Yeah,
it wasn't enough to stop
damage.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was a little surprised that someone gave her a 10-8, but it was a good fight. It showed like Gillian's skills. She's able to kind of nullify a dangerous striker, but it also showed that she's pretty open to the guillotine. I was watching her and I saw Trayshawn Gore's gilly, and I saw the way she was shooting it, and I was like, ooh.
She loves that outside single, which really leaves you open for that if you're not careful, if you don't dump or if you don't go directly to the back.
Yeah, and there was one moment where Pinheiro almost got her with that kind of where you cover the head, you drop down, you kick them over, like that kind of sweep that you can get from the guillotine too. So I'm like, if she doesn't duck me again, perhaps I can try some of those moves in my next fight.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah, can't wait. But those are a couple good fights in our division. And then, did you want to talk about the breakdancer?
We can.
Miss No Mess Mellisa over there. No Mess Dixon versus Klaudia Sygula.
Yeah, we had a nice little victory dance. That was
it was cute.
Would make the Australian breakdancer jealous.
I was thinking that. I was thinking who would win between her and Raygun.
Oh no, she would win.
Yeah.
No, she would win. She won. She get that gold.
At first I thought she was gonna twerk though, so it was kind of a nice surprise because she went down on all fours. And I was like, she's going to do the Alien Perez. Like, this is what people do now. But then she started doing the thing. The windmill thing. What do you call that thing?
I think it's a windmill.
It's a windmill?
I think so.
Okay. She was doing the... I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, she got some moves. Cool. She's got some moves.
They should let her walk out with a cool hat next time she fights.
Or a mask or
like
something.
Like a Kangol hat to show that she's a breakdancer. You know?
She should request it with wardrobe.
I bet they do it. Like a Venom Kangol styled hat. Yeah, I feel like they could do that for her. I
bet they would.
Yeah, it's her heritage.
I mean, they're giving out like windbreakers now. So
really,
yeah, I saw somebody. It was like a zip up windbreaker kind of retro.
Yeah,
it was really cute. They were really cute.
No, I saw Luana and Mateus Nicolau. They were at the PI and they had their little brown like sweats and stuff. It was really nice.
Yeah.
I'm like, how come I didn't get that one?
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
It would have been nice.
They switched it the weekend after. So rude. But hopefully we'll get some merch later.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but that fight was actually kind of wild because I felt like she was just really green. Claudia was.
They're
Klaudia.
Yeah, they both have less than 10 fights.
Yeah.
And one, who was the short notice? Dixon was the short notice?
No, Klaudia Sygula was. And it looked like it. It looked like they found what they could, shipped her in, brought her in, and then she kind of showed that she's not really there yet. I think, I don't think that, like, she'll get cut after this one, but I feel like they should give her a lot of time just to get up to that level because you can tell that she's just super green on the feet.
Yeah.
Everywhere, actually. But, like, I just didn't see where she would win against anyone, really, in the bantamweight division.
Well, I mean, I feel like she's one of those girls that would have gone on the Contender Series, and if she had won, they would have been like, hey, come back when you have more experience.
Yeah.
That. And they may keep her around for one more fight. Just because that's what usually happens with people who take fights on short notice. They'll give you another one. But I could see her, getting cut after another loss and then needing to go back and get more experience, which would be fair. And I think would be a good move. It wouldn't be, a bad thing.
No, for sure. I think with the fact that you got into the UFC suddenly there's more resources available and you can go and get better at striking. You can go and get better at grappling. It just looked like she was still at that level before you, like way before you get into the big show, and I would hate to see her get like a killer in the state that she is now.
I 100% agree.
But No Mess Dixon, I think that was a good fight for her to get her feet wet. And, she's definitely going to have to come out a little faster in her next one. But she did a really good job of just like taking her down, getting on top, listening to her corner in between rounds and getting the job done. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those were the big fights on the cards, or at least the ones we care. We went to the bathroom during the men's fights, not during the women's. Just kidding. We watched them all. But one thing that was very distracting to everyone at the Apex was the fact that Jon Jones was in the building.
Nobody was watching the fights. Everyone was staring at him the whole time.
Not one person. Not one person.
Nobody.
No, they were watching fights. But in between rounds, they'd like look over at Jon Jones to see if he'd like look back and wave. But they had Jon Jones there. He was hanging out. He was I actually got to talk to him a little bit. He was really excited about being able to see the fights in person right before he goes to Madison Square Garden, because it's kind of a big deal to be at the fights the weekend before like a huge pay-per-view main event.
That's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
That's, maybe a little bit distracting, but maybe it's a welcome distraction for him,
Yeah, it seemed like he was really excited to be there to like get the heart pings that you get when you hear the bell, when you hear like someone slam on the canvas, that type of stuff. So he was just taking it all in, trying to get used to the atmosphere and mentally prepare himself for MSG next week.
Yeah, that's a big one. Mm-hmm. It's a big, beautiful card headlining at Madison Square Garden. That's like, a once in a lifetime.
A girl could dream. One day, hopefully. Jon Jones was in the building. And you said I didn't get to see the all the scrum things, but they were pumping out a lot of videos because there were so many finishes on the card. But you said they were like really hyping up Jon Jones and
talking about his legacy,
making
him look really good, talking about him being a young athlete coming into fighting and just what he's done, the whole
shebang.
Everything he's done, and he's done a lot. He's been through a lot of adversity. He's had some comebacks from his missteps. So they're painting the picture that he's on the right path, and I hope so, because he's a very talented athlete, and I hate to see somebody just not be able to help themselves or save themselves from themselves.
Yeah, he had a bodyguard.
No, good for him.
He had a responsible adult there, making sure he was on his best behavior,
as he should,
and he was having a great time. Even though I think he wished he was partying with us. We were drinking, not Jon Jones, but me and Kat. We were getting down.
The Apex has cocktails.
Yes. You didn't know this?
I never knew that.
There's a lounge. So I've never been a guest at the Apex until last night. But this is why we had to shoot at night, because I'm on fumes.
She's very tired.
Very tired. Very hungover. I'm surprised we're doing this right now, actually. But at the Apex, there's like a lounge in the back where they have food. They have open bar, and you can see the TVs and stuff. It's kind of like the green room that they used to have after the fights in the arenas.
Good old green room. Now they just ship you off.
Now they just kick you back in the bus, go back to the hotel and watch it on TV. But
it's so rude.
So mean. I feel like they just do that at the Apex, though. There's still green rooms, I think.
No,
not at the arena.
No.
I think there's a green room. Maybe not. It's been a while. It's been a while since I got to fight in front of people. Well, what happened in Brazil? Oh yeah, we just got kicked on the bus. Yeah, they threw us on the bus.
Yeah, the hotel lobby was our green room.
Yeah.
We partied it up. I don't know if you remember.
We did.
There was a lot of drinking.
I remember getting there.
Yes.
I don't remember leaving.
Yes.
Much like last night. But we were enjoying some Funk Harbor.
Oh, do they have that at the lounge?
Yeah.
Was it good? Do you approve?
I'm a fan.
Wow.
If I'm in a rum mood, which isn't often, but if I'm in a rum mood, I feel like I'd be into it because it's like, it's not like a flavored rum, but it gives you can like taste hints of like banana or plantain, molasses.
A little bit of sand.
Yeah, just a little bit, but mostly sweet. It's mostly like sweet, like, yeah, like it reminds me of fried plantain.
Okay.
You know, like it's sweet,
it's good, but there's not a lot of taste.
Not too much, but just enough. So I actually enjoyed it. I'm like, hey, if you want to send us a bottle, we can be your reps in San Diego. We could take them to all the tiki bars that show fights. It'd be a thing. So just putting it out there. Again, Aljo, in case you don't remember, because we were drinking. So yeah, everyone was having a good time, and I think Jones was a little jealous, but he'll be able to get into some crazy shit in New York.
Yeah,
after the fight,
he'll be fine.
Not before.
He'll be fine.
Not before. After. Well, I did hear that they're trying to reverse the 12-6 rule. We saw some 12-6 elbows to the butthole. Jon Jones was one of the first to throw a 12-6 elbow and get disqualified. And that was the only loss on his record. So
yeah, so it's a no contest. His fight versus Matt Hamill, where he threw the 12-6.
No, he lost that fight. It's a loss on his record.
It's a no contest, I thought.
I believe it's a loss. And that's why they say, oh, he's technically undefeated, but his one loss is the 12-6 elbow.
Yeah, 27-1. They have it in like hyphens. Mm-hmm. One no contest.
Yeah.
But yeah, 27-1.
Okay. So what was his loss then?
That one.
Oh, it was that one?
Yeah. So
which one is the no contest then? Oh, a no contest counts as a loss.
Yeah.
Okay. We're on the same page now.
So they said it is... So this says it's technically overturned. I understand them wanting to have, the GOAT have an undefeated record, but I don't agree with it. He threw an illegal elbow while that was the rule. No 12-6. So I don't think it is eligible for getting overturned. However, he's Jon Jones.
Yeah, exactly. So, the no contest is actually the Daniel Cormier fight. Just to clarify, because he did a little something he wasn't supposed to do. He had a metabolite, however you say it.
Metabolite?
Yes, the turinabol.
Uh-huh.
Which one is that?
A steroid?
Yeah, but which one is that? Do you know like the difference between steroids?
No.
Well, he had that one. So that's the no contest, but the DQ was Matt Hamill. He threw a 12-6
okay,
elbow.
and that is still a loss.
And that is a loss on his record.
Yes, it is.
So they were talking about overturning that loss now that 12-6 elbows are allowed.
I don't agree with it. I think the law stands because that was the rules at the time of the infraction. And even though times have changed and we're finally allowed to throw them, that doesn't change history. I just don't agree with it. I understand why they would want that. I understand how that was, a frustrating loss for him, but that was the rule at the time.
Yeah, I think the only reason it'd be cool to overturn something like that if they looked at the video and they said, oh, it's actually an 11-5 elbow. It's not actually a 12-6 elbow, which is in the rule book as illegal. Uh-huh. But I do think that when there's rules in place, you have to follow them, because Matt Hamill didn't throw 12 to 6 elbows, like he was following the rules and the other person wasn't. So I have to agree with you. And guys in the comments, let us know what you think. But I do feel like if you're able to do that with this rule, what other things can you overturn?
It opens up the door. Yeah. They're going to open up a mess.
Like, I know it'd still be illegal, the Piotr Jan knee that he threw at Aljamain Sterling. But it's like, what if suddenly Piotr Jan is only fighting in Pride rules?
Yeah.
Does that get overturned?
No.
It's not fair, because one person decided to break the rules and the other person didn't. So just because you can do it now, I feel pretty strongly about that too. It shouldn't be something that you get rewarded for just because the rules change.
No, and I mean, they just changed the rules with the, downed opponent. So now are all of those fights going to get changed? No, you can't do that.
Yeah,
because those were the rules at the time.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree. I wonder if that's actually going to happen. I feel like there'd be a lot of pushback on it, but because Jon Jones, maybe that won't matter.
It'll be interesting to see, because I mean, they moved an entire fight card for this man.
Yeah. Was that the one you were on, or was it Kat?
I think it was the one Kat was on.
Yeah, Kat was on that card.
Yeah. So we'll see what it is. The rules can be different for other people.
This is true. Different for the needle movers.
As is life.
What's in the needle, I wonder?
Well, we know it was tested.
It's going to be a little bit of everything after next Saturday. Please be safe, Jon Jones. please survive the after party too.
please we'd love to see you again.
Well, speaking of partying, you showed me this crazy article talking about how a fighter was on mushrooms when he fought.
Yes, so we have hold on, let me pull up his name.
That just sounds like...
We have Tom Breeze, who fought in PFL. He ended up losing this fight, and he basically in a post-fight interview said that he was on psychedelic mushrooms while he was fighting. Now, guys.
Jessica, you're a mushroom girl.
I am a huge fan and supporter of psychedelics, plant medicine. Love it. In no way, shape, or form is this helpful for you in a fight. I've tried to train jiu-jitsu while microdosing and
how'd that go?
Dosing. It didn't go well. No, it's really hard to pay attention. It's really hard to retain something. I don't recommend it at all. It was kind of an accidental thing. I wasn't, doing it thinking it would make my jiu-jitsu game better. I've been around the gym a lot with a lot of people who train jiu-jitsu and are huge, pot smokers.
Yeah.
And they believe that it elevates their game. I don't know that to be true. That's not my thing.
You're like, you were trash yesterday. Weed made you worse.
It does, but you can't tell them that though, because they just really believe in it. So I don't know if, I don't know what he was thinking.
Doesn't seem like a smart idea. So what about a mushroom trip would either enhance or hurt your performance as a fighter?
So if you're doing a microdose, which is 0.1 to 0.5. 0.5 is a big one.
Okay.
If you're doing those, it's supposed to, elevate your mood. It's almost like an antidepressant. It just makes you feel a little bit happier. If you're doing like 0.1, 0.2, you're not necessarily going to feel anything, but it does, do things internally.
Yeah.
So it is, helpful in your day to day. You may see things a little bit brighter. You may get a little bit of a boost in, serotonin kind of feeling, but it's, that's a very low dose. Anything over, 0.5 is hard to function.
Really?
Yes.
See, I've only microdosed, and I'll get like the little edible chocolates or something, but I feel like I've never had like a legit mushroom trip.
I have.
So would you be a better or worse fighter, and why?
Worse.
What?
No, worse. You got like you blast off to another dimension.
Oh,
if you're yes. So 0.5 is still considered kind of a microdose, but you're gonna be feeling things.
Okay.
A gram, 2 grams, 3 grams, you're getting into, actual doses. And then 5 grams is considered an heroic dose. And that's where you can blast off and go to outer space.
Ooh.
And you can do that on 3 grams, 4 grams. You can do that. It just depends on your sensitivity to it and what the medicine wants to do with you and work with you in. But it's one of those things where sometimes when I've been on a higher dose of mushrooms, I can't formulate thoughts. Like stuff is going on in here and it's making a lot of sense, but to try and communicate what I am seeing, hearing, and feeling is just, it's a whole nother thing entirely. So I don't know how high of a dose he was on, but in no way do I think being on any kind of psilocybin would be helpful in a fight.
So how do you do?
He lost.
Oh.
Yeah, no, he lost.
Decision?
I have to pull it up again.
Did he decide that he was in another planet?
He was seeing flying saucers or something like that.
I think he got knocked out, right?
Let me see. I'm pulling it up right now.
Man, that sounds like a bad idea.
No, it's a terrible idea.
The few times I microdosed like a little more than normal, I was uncomfortable. And I did not want to do anything that required sweating or breathing hard.
No, I remember I was... funny story. Sorry, I'm still trying to pull up Tom Breeze's record.
I'll look it up for you.
So I was over at a friend's house and I was by the pool. I was going to have like a relaxing off day, and I decided to, take like a gram or 2. And then they decided that they wanted to do a pool workout. And so they invited me to do that. I was like, guys, I'm actually like, I'm on mushrooms right now. I don't think that's a great idea. Because you can drown, drinking and going swimming, So I did this workout.
He got knocked out.
I just saw that. Yeah. It just finally came up. Yeah.
In 70 seconds.
Yeah. By Rob Wilkinson. Yeah. I don't know what his dose was, but I don't think it was helpful. It could probably help after the fight to help your brain heal, because there is a lot of regeneration from taking psilocybin. It's very helpful.
Maybe he read the directions wrong.
Maybe.
Like, take this after you fight. Oh, before?
Great idea.
After my weight cut?
Preemptively get some help. It'll do all the good stuff that it's supposed to do after the fight.
His brain is just like Wolverine. Like, it gets smashed and then regrows right away. That's what he thought was going to happen.
Probably. But I ended up doing this crazy intense deep end fitness pool workout.
No,
while I'm actually it was awful.
I think I took in a lot of water. Get me.
I took in a lot of water, and I'm trying to tough through it, and I'm like, I felt like really judged too. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Man,
it was
that's
very,
the worst.
very sensitive.
Well
stressful.
Then, mental note: never do that. I think I could probably fight drunk. I could probably fight a little bit high on from weed, but I don't think I could fight on anything psychedelic. That just sounds like a death sentence.
No, and it makes you all love it. How can you be mad on mushrooms?
That's true. Yeah, you just want to hug.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe you can. You know who could fight on mushrooms? Merab.
I feel like he could do anything.
He could. He's so powerful.
He'd probably give a lot more kisses.
Yeah.
Really, really get in there. Lots of nuzzling.
Okay, that's our next challenge from Merab. Defend your belt on mushrooms. I bet it'll be an amazing performance.
I bet he could do it.
If anyone could, he could.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, one last thing we were going to talk about is the crazy drama that's going on with Bryan Caraway.
Oh man. So we have retired ex-UFC fighter, also Mr. Meerschaert.
Wow.
He was in the headlines last week, and he is wanted for insurance fraud in Benton County.
Oh no, where's that?
It doesn't actually say. Oh, Washington State.
Okay. Man.
And according to the Office of Washington State Insurance Commissioner, Bryan Caraway failed to appear for a recent pretrial hearing in Benton County Superior Court, and an arrest warrant is issued. It was issued on October 3rd. He was charged with forgery, first-degree attempt theft, filing a false insurance claim, and making a false statement on a vehicle application certificate of title by Benton County.
What? It was an ATV, right?
Yeah.
That's the most petty thing ever.
So he said it was stolen. Apparently, it's hiding at his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend's house.
It's
and he
Misha
reported
Tate. It's Misha Tate's ATV. She reported it stolen.
Damn.
Yeah, it's so messy. It is the messiest thing ever. Poor Misha.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for her having to deal with this guy. It's like they don't have a kid together, right?
No.
They don't even have a kid together.
They were together forever. No, she's
he's
happy living her happy life. She's definitely leveled up and doing really well. It's unfortunate that she's
still getting pulled into his BS.
Yeah.
That's so wild. It makes me wonder what kind of like ratchet stuff went down when they were together that she just overlooked, because that is such a weird, petty thing to do.
Yeah, I question his decision making.
Like, does he need money? Is that why? Because it's an insurance claim, so he's trying to keep the ATV, but also get money for it?
I think so. I think he's trying to get insurance money.
But he stole it, so it's reported stolen already. And he didn't think to not try to get money.
Stolen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah. It's
and then his brother's involved with it too, right?
It doesn't say anything about his brother in this article.
Okay. I think I heard that. Maybe him.
The charges stem from an investigation into an all-terrain vehicle that Caraway claimed was stolen in 2018.
Okay. So it wasn't Misha Tate's.
No.
So she's helping, though. I saw that she was helping them with the investigation or with the trial or something like that.
Maybe she's a witness in some way. I mean, this is 2018. Man, it's taken a long time to do all of this. According to the insurance commissioner's office, an investigation showed that Caraway forged the title and that the ATV was not stolen but was owned by and in possession of his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, Misha Tate.
Well, we don't know if it was her. Maybe it was another ex-girlfriend.
No, it says Misha Tate.
Oh, not in my article.
Caraway was initially charged after he allegedly stole an ATV from his ex-girlfriend and fellow UFC veteran Misha Tate, and then filed a fraudulent insurance claim over the vehicle.
Well, you have a better article than I do.
It's so messy. This is MMA fighting. So if you guys want to read up on that.
Well, we don't know if we can believe them because MMA journalists.
I know, right? You never know. They could just be putting out fake news, since that's what's cool nowadays.
Yeah, this one's on NBC.
Yeah. Well,
wild.
NBC might be more reputable source. They might check their sources before putting out dribble. But that's something to watch. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned and see how wild and crazy that story gets. I'm just happy that she has like a good man to hold her down right now. And like she can look at a situation like that and probably laugh it off just because she's doing so well right now. She has like a healthy relationship, beautiful children, beautiful husband. Like she's living the dream.
She is winning.
She is. She's winning in life.
Good for her.
So Sorry. Sorry you got to deal with some fuck shit from your past.
Yeah.
But, it's funny.
Well, on that note, let's skip on over to our bonus content for our members.
Yeah, and what are we going to be talking about on the bonus?
Well, we have some fun little tidbits.
I think we're going to hit some of those knockouts that got... What is he looking for? We're going to hit some knockouts that got bonuses on the card that we didn't get to. Some of the fighters are a little pissed about Michael Bisping and his commentary. We'll talk about that
What
too.
else is new?
Is what it is. We'll see on the flip. Make sure to join to support the podcast on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify, make sure to tune in on Tuesday for the bonus episode. It'll be live then. See ya!